Welcome everyone to Tea Time with Miss Liz. That's right, it's afternoon tea. And today in the studio I am joined with Frankie Nobert. And I'm going to read a little on her bio and then she's going to take us on to a journey that will be like no other. So sit back, grab your tea, and here's a little bit on Frankie. So Frankie, her beliefs of herself, of course, have shifted. Life has been about creating her best best life that she dreamed of as a young girl. There had to be something better. She was going to rise above her circumstances. Those circumstances were her childhood sexual abuse, growing up in an alcoholic home, her mother staying with her father, and being the oldest of three and becoming the parent. She was not going to let this affect her. She kept it a secret for far too long, as most of us do. As hard as she tried to hide and not let it affect her, it affected everything, all her relationships, her self worth, body image, sense of responsibility as she kept her armor on, keeping herself safe and pushed everyone away. So a little bit more on Frankie. Her bio is in on her tea time, so check it out. And I would like to get Frankie right into it and take us on that journey. So welcome, Frankie, to tea time.
Wow. Thank you so much. I had forgotten I'd written all that. That's kind of everything in a nutshell. But of course, there is more. Yes. So for me, the abuse started as a young girl, and I was the oldest of three. I ended up becoming the parent, and somewhere along the way, it's like you just you just do what you have to do to survive. And as I think so many of us, felt that I was the only one, and I felt very alone. And I felt that way for a lot of years, never mind just as a child at home. But of course, it was a family secret, and that's what we do is we keep those things a secret, and that's why they continue. It is also why we continue to suffer because what often is attached to that secrecy is shame. We have so much shame, even though we're not responsible. We still feel, I should say, not we. I felt dirty. I felt shame. Um, I felt not good enough. I felt all those things. So a lot of those feelings are things that a lot of women experience. One doesn't have to be sexually abused to feel those. Um, but anyway, as a young girl, I I believed that there had to be a better life. And so as you said, was going to just kind of bury that secret even deeper, not let it affect me, and I was going to create that better life. And so I did that by, as you know, being strong and independent. Um, I protected myself by pushing people away as a youngster, and even as an adult, I carried that on into later adulthood for a long time. Um, so that helps lead to also a lot of the loneliness. When we feel disconnected, we feel shame. It all feeds into that loneliness, but it's all about protecting yourself. Anyway, I went to university, got my degree in social work. So yes, I wanted to help people, but at that time, I never thought about that I was going to help people by necessarily sharing my story, which is the difference in terms of what I do now. But when I was younger, it was about just how do I find some answers? How do I help other people? All those kinds of things. And just kind of be a good person, have the best life, and kind of go on from there. Um, but I carried darkness with me and distance. I struggled with depression. I struggled with loneliness because that survival technique of keeping myself safe also kept me very lonely. And so kind of finally got to a point where even though I did therapy and a lot of those things in the 80s and it helped tremendously, I still wasn't letting go of it all. And I found out or was reminded about 5 years ago that I had more work to do. I had to dig in deeper. I had more pain and darkness to let go of in order to find some inner peace. And that's where I finally found the support of others, the support of other women, connection with other women, and where I finally felt safe enough where I was able to take my mask off and take off the layers of protection and finally be vulnerable, share my story. For the first time 5 years ago, I felt that someone wanted to hear my story. For the first time ever, I felt that it was important. And I remember being told at the time is, other people need to hear your story. Well, I didn't know that at the time, and nor did I believe it, because I was so busy all my life just trying to fix me. So when we were talking earlier about, us being told that we're not going to amount to anything or we're damaged goods. Yeah. I wasn't necessarily told those things, but I felt those things. I felt like I was damaged goods. So yeah, I was fixing me. And I am no longer fixing me. I'm not the broken one. It's, when in a relationship, there's two people, right? I'm not the only one. But anyway, through that work with the group of women that I'm part of, and several women, I have now, friends, sisters from all over the world as well, and where we've all been kind of digging deep into our stories and releasing our pain and our shame and so on and so forth, has made such a difference. Probably one of the biggest things that's made a huge difference for me is that 2 years ago, I was given the opportunity to share my story on stage to, the public, and I've done it twice. In preparation for doing that, I wrote down my story, and I wrote, and I wrote, and I wrote, and I rewrote, and so just through that alone, it's more than just journaling. It's like, how do I make sense of this, and what are the lessons in here? So that's the other thing when we do some healing is we're looking at what have I learned, never mind about, I pushed everybody away and that there's something wrong with me, but it's what are the good things that I've learned and what are the good things that I'm going to take forward, kind of thing. And so through all of that, I've been able to release my past, release the hold that the past has on me. So to talk about my father is not painful. To talk about, some of those painful childhood things is not painful because I've healed those wounds enough that I am safe enough to move forward. And through doing that, I have found peace.
You mentioned it a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
You've mentioned pulling away from everyone, and I do this as well. Mm-hmm. I am very guarded. I am very a watcher. Is that something that sexual abuse survivors have in common? That we watch our circles. We're very guarded. We're, we push people away before they push us away.
Right. Sadly, I think it's probably not. Even though you and I might identify with it stronger, I have a funny feeling, others, because I'm thinking of other women that, I've been in contact with, through this group that have been abused and say had alcoholics in the family. And my father was an alcoholic as well. But how when we live with alcoholics, we walk on eggshells, right?
Yes, all the time.
That kind of thing. And my father and my mother were not physically abusive, so there was never that fear in terms of if they were drinking. It was just the other. But others, in terms of if they might, that fear of being hit, physically beaten, I would suspect that they're kind of on high alert as well. Yeah, I don't know for sure. But yeah, you're right. I won't say I play the room, but I'm very in tune with the energy in the room or with an individual and whatever. And I know that was something I was asked about, same thing in another interview in terms of safety with other people and how do you know? And I said it's just a sense. And I know I've had it, and I'm sure you have too, from what you've said, that someone I meet or I even see, never mind meet, And it's like,
Yeah, I don't know about you.
yeah, right. I don't know what it is, but they're just, so yeah, I keep, my distance and, more often than not, that has been affirmed later. When I was working as a social worker, I remember one family and had to remove the child and wasn't told about, we didn't know why at the time, but found out many years later, after I was out of the field, it was about the daughter had been sexually abused. And yeah, my antennas were up, but I didn't know. And so yeah, that energy, that intuition, that whatever you want to call it. The other thing that I do, and I don't know if it's women, but I know I do, is I read body language. It's not what you say,
Yes.
but it's your body language.
Me, it's the
And
eyes.
yes.
The
And that's the
eyes.
thing that I've always had, an issue with my husband. He'll, shake his head. And I said, it's not what you said. I said, it's how you said it.
Exactly. You don't even have to say anything,
No.
buddy. Like, your eyes are speaking for you.
That's right. Or the fact you're not looking at me.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. But yeah, we're on high alert
On
a
high
lot.
alert,
And
right?
yeah, and I'm not now, but I'm still an observer and more out of interest and fascination. Like I can sit in an airport or wherever and just watch people and just be fascinated.
Yeah.
And wonder what their stories are or whatever. But yeah, and there was a time with that, and just in general, again, when I was in those dark days, where I was probably very judgmental and negative. And I'm not now, because again, I'm very aware that all of us have had shit. Yeah, whatever that is. And so it's trying to just be curious. And I say that because it's something that I say to remind myself to keep being curious. And I remember thinking again when I was younger and, School of Hard Knocks, I got all the answers, right? Well, as time has gone on, right, the more we know, the more I realize I really don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh. So yeah.
And do you notice that people who have gone through any sort of abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, anything, that we want to be caregivers. We want to change the world. We want to be those change makers.
Yes. Right.
I've noticed that because once we get the strength to release our stories, we want to show others that they can do it as well.
Oh, definitely. Yes.
And when you send me your bio, I read your bio and it was like, it was like reliving a lot of things because there were so many similarities, right? Because our stories are not the same. We might have similarities, but they're not the same.
Right.
And when I read your bio, I was like, wow. Yeah. And the word define, like before tea time, we had talked about the definition, right? And on your poster, it says that you defined yourself. So could you get into that a little deeper?
In terms of how do I define myself?
Exactly.
Oh, wow. Good question. Jeez.
I know. I ask the tough questions. I'm the lady that will ask those questions. Everybody's like, wow, where does that come from?
Perfect. I am a woman who has, actually, I just wrote this morning, and I'll give you the context after. That has been on a journey of 1,000 miles, a journey of a lifetime to finding truth, to finding courage, to finding self-love, to finding love, to finding peace. And I found that it's not over. And I have always been, I thought I was different just because I was abused. Because, as a kid, thinking I'm the only one, right? Well, of course, then we realize, well, sadly, we're not the only one. But I also tried, maybe tried isn't the word, but I was very conscious about being different. And being different in terms of doing what I want to do, that kind of thing. And be different in terms of, in my early years, like I've cycled, Eastern Canada. I've cycled, Banff Jasper to Banff, and I've done these on my own, and I don't wait for people to join me.
I
It's kind of
love
like,
that.
yeah, it's like I don't. I won't say I was always the most courageous, because there are some things that still scare me, definitely. But when it comes to that kind of stuff that I want to do bad enough, I will find a way. And my husband doesn't have to join me. Girlfriends don't have to join me. I will go and do it on my own. And so it's like, again, also the other one is I don't have children. That was a conscious choice, and that definitely is related to my childhood, kind of thing. But so is everything else. And then a lot of the things I have done have been related to the abuse and trying to be strong and invincible and whatever, and I'm okay,
Yeah.
right? But they're also things that I enjoyed and still continue to enjoy. It's not like that they were a torture. So, I was a gym rat. I was a personal trainer. I taught swimming. I'm a good golfer. All these kinds of things. And do things that most women can't do until their children are raised. But I got to do them now. And I mean, so I also, like, I define myself. I tried not to, how to put it, for the longest time, I used the words, I am not, I'm defying, that's right, not defying age, but rather I am defining aging.
Yep.
The difference now. And because, again, I'm still doing things that most people wouldn't do at 70. And yeah, so kind of in,
70,
so it's,
girl, you look good
yes.
for 70.
Oh,
I
thank
would
you.
never give you 70.
Oh yeah, I turned 70 this summer, and so in that sense, I've done a few different things. So when I said the quote that I used about that, my life is a journey of 1,000 miles, and all this stuff is kind of part and parcel of a thing that I have done this summer. Is I did a photo shoot, and just kind of got the final product of it, and in the book, it says the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. And
Wow.
I was fascinated and really touched that the photographer and his executive assistant portrayed me so well in terms of this woman, aging gracefully and differently, kind of thing. And so I'm different and strong, and
See,
courageous,
I
and
love that.
here,
I love that when I hear a woman say that, because there's not enough women out there that say that.
yeah,
When you can say I am strong,
yep,
that is true healing for a
oh,
woman,
yeah,
any woman out there, because it
oh,
takes a lot to say,
definitely,
and
yes,
overcoming everything that you have gone through to say that is empowering. And it is needed. More women need to say
definitely,
that,
yeah,
because
yeah,
affirmations are important. We need
right,
to
right,
give these
yeah,
affirmations to ourselves in order
that's
to
right.
stay strong, right?
Yeah,
And I love,
I agree, and that's again why I am doing this too. Like I said, I wasn't in a state before where I felt I could help and support other women, but I didn't have that piece before that I do now. Even though I was doing all those other things, there was still a key piece that was missing. And
yeah.
so it's like, okay, I've got it all together now, and I won't say I have my shit together, but I have a lot of it together. But in terms of that I can be encouraging and inspiring and uplifting
Yeah.
to other women. And so in that sense, one of the differences too, or maybe difference isn't the word, is I have not worked in a position, so as to say, in terms of empowering women, like in the entrepreneurial
Yeah.
stage, right? I did when I was a personal trainer, because again, there weren't that many women that were personal trainers at that time. but yeah, so by, doing that, so yes, part of the group that I'm part of now is specifically to support women. I have women in my group, and there's various different groups, but I have various ones who are in my group because my story resonates with them specifically,
Well,
kind
that's
of
great.
thing. And um, so like you said, our stories aren't exactly the same, but we
Yep.
can still pick up bits and pieces in terms
Yep.
of, what did I do? Not those physical things, but what did I do to help get me to there? So
Mm-hmm.
in that sense, one of the things in terms of getting me there, like doing my photo shoot for me was one of the ways, or a tool or a step towards reclaiming my body, reclaiming my sexuality, kind of thing. Because even at 70, even after all these years, and with healing, that's still an issue. There's
Yeah.
still an issue there, and it's like we're still working on it. And but it's like I'm just that one step closer. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's not that anyone else has to do the same thing, but it might give them some thought or some food for thought of something else that they maybe can do, or a realization that they still need something else to do.
Yep.
Because I think
Well,
when
the
we
healing
get to the point
journey is
when we think we have
forever,
no more work to do, it's like, no, we've always got work to do.
right? Exactly. There's always room to grow. There's always room to heal.
Yeah.
And it's a lifetime journey of healing.
Hmm.
Because it doesn't just go away. It might have
No.
stopped, but it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people out there need to understand is that the abuse might have stopped, but the healing
Oh,
journey is
yeah.
forever.
It is. It really is. And it's those layers. And until we start going through it, we don't realize what that expression of peeling away the layers really means. And as you go along, and you think you're good for a while, and then something comes up, and you think, oh shit,
Yeah, those
it's
damn
still
triggers,
there.
right? It's just like, oh, okay, I'm back to that again.
Yeah, right. And it manifests itself in such strange ways. I've been very fortunate in terms of, physically, I have been very healthy, but often the abuse, the mental part of that takes its toll physically as well as mentally. And many don't come out unscathed. And one, I use my sister. I did not tell my husband that I had been abused until I was 38. We'd been married 16 years.
Wow.
My sister also did not tell me or the world about the same time, just before she was 40, or right around 40. She kind of shared it as well, and I had no idea of all those years that my little sister, who was 5 years younger than me, had been abused as well.
But we always
And
think we're the only ones, right?
yeah, yeah,
When we hope we're the only ones when it's happening, because
yeah.
we don't want anybody to experience what's going on.
No,
You know,
no, no. And something I've thought about lately, and I have no idea, and I will never know. My sister always resented me, and I thought it had more to do with the fact of having to raise her and my brother, kind of thing. But lately, I thought to myself, I wonder if she's angry because I didn't save her, I didn't help her. But I have no idea, because I had no idea that it was happening.
yeah.
But it's possible. I mean, because obviously, as we talk, our thoughts are very
Well, we expect
irrational.
our older siblings to take care of us, right?
Right,
Like
right.
I'm told this as well, and like I get a lot of that resentment from my siblings
Hmm.
because there was so much abuse in our family. Why
Yeah,
why didn't you step up? Why didn't you save us? Like sis, why didn't you help us?
yeah,
And I'd be like, I could only help myself. I could
yeah,
only survive for myself.
yeah.
It
Like I
wasn't
was a kid.
love you. I was a child myself. I was going through it myself.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to help you. All I knew how to do was take over mom and dad's role because mom and dad weren't being mom and dad.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Really sad, isn't it? And the sad part, and I guess that's part of this message that we've talked about in terms of how important it is that we share it, is why we need to share it and get it out there to get more, to give more the courage to step up and seek up too, is that the numbers that this is happening to is still horrendously high. The statistics, haven't changed a lot over the years. They still say 1 in 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know about you, but I know myself and my sister, well, we're not part of those statistics. So it's
Exactly.
like, I think it's a whole lot higher than 1 in 3.
Me too.
And when I go into a room, invariably it's like, someone else says me and someone else says me. And before you know it, it's like, shit, everyone's been affected in one way or the other. And it's like, okay, there's something wrong with this picture.
I know somebody who has gone through it, right? So
Pardon me?
you either know somebody who has gone through it or you're somebody who has gone through it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I strongly believe these numbers for anything, mental health or sexual abuse, the numbers are off big time because the reports are not there. A lot of people are not coming forward.
No.
And a lot of people don't come forward because of the systems.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you get re-traumatized, you get re-victimized. When you come forward about sexual abuse, was it really that bad? Are you over-exaggerating? Maybe he just loved you a little bit more than he loved the other one.
Oh.
It's all those words.
That just gives me chills. It's like, oh my God. It's like, yeah, and you're right. So who would want to go through that again?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God. It's just re-traumatized as if once is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the problem is the system and the justice system suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because abusers will get good time because they sat in jail waiting for their sentence.
Yeah, right.
And then they get less time. Well, do we get less time with the triggers, with the nightmares, with the flashbacks? No, we don't. And this is where I am like, enough is enough. Because we need to change these laws. We need to change the way the system works.
Right, right. Yeah.
We didn't get good time because, they didn't touch us that night. So, that's good time for us. Like, no, that's not the way it works. We got traumatized over and over and over again. We got touched, abused, hurt over and over again.
Yeah.
So why do they get off?
No, I agree. But, so in the meantime, that's a big chunk that I know I'm not dealing with. And so it's like, for me, it's deal with that which I can. And trying to be just as, I won't say vocal, but try to be just as open as possible and supportive, listening. And, as I said, for me to be heard and know how important that is. And so therefore do the same for others and just continue. And, often, yes, we want to help everyone, but as I've heard many times before, if we help even just one, that's enough. And hopefully, yes, we help many more than that. And in that sense, I know I have, because there's a couple here in my local community that I've known for years, and bumped into recently, and thanked me, and the same thing online and whatnot, and we have no idea to what extent. Yeah. How vast, our effect really is. And again, it's not doing it for the accolades. It's not that at all. It's just, we know, we understand what they're feeling, what they're going through. And it's like, we're to help you and get you through however.
So because we're on Teatime, and I do this with all my guests.
Yep.
So I'm going to switch it up a little. So if I give you the word T, and for each letter, could you give me a word for the letter TEA?
TEA. Truth, enthusiasm, aptitude.
I love it.
Actually,
everyone is
attitude,
different.
Yeah. The first one was easy. Truth.
You're the first one to say truth for T.
Interesting.
Which is, it's nice to hear the truth.
Yes. Yeah. Ultimately, I think that's what we all want, right?
Yeah. Yes.
We really
want to live with our truth. We want to define who we really are. We don't want the society or others to define us.
That's right. Live our truth. Yeah. Whatever that is. Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
I agree. And and have the courage to do that, because again, when we're still struggling to get ourselves figured out, we don't have that figured out yet, or the courage to say, I really don't want to do this. Right?
But I gotta do it.
Yeah, right. It's like, because one of the things that I've become aware of, and I cringe just because I hate it, but it is there, is that one of the things that we often do is we become people pleasers.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, and it's like, and I thought I was strong and independent, and it's like, oh shit, no. But it's like, okay, so yeah, it doesn't mean those things change automatically, but as we heal more and understand more, we start to recognize it more, and it's like, okay, is that major of a thing, or am I compromising myself completely in terms of not living my truth? Whatever. And because it can be so easy, because we've already done it, but we often will continue to beat ourselves up when it's like, I know better, but I can't do it. Well, again, by keeping on doing the work, hopefully we can eventually find and give ourselves some grace. And that's part of, again, loving ourselves. And that's one of the really big ones. And one of the things that I do on a daily basis, I don't do a lot of other stuff. On a daily basis, I do usually put in a quote or something in the Facebook stories.
Yep.
And anyway, the one today actually is that what the most intimate relationship we will ever have is with ourselves. And so it's like nurture that, and nurture that self-love. And it's something that we all really struggle with, because we don't think that we're good enough, and we can't love others, we can't give to others. And I say, again, I keep saying we, but I'm speaking about myself. I wasn't able to give love, I wasn't able to receive it so much because I didn't love me for so long. And once I was kind of able to drop all of that stuff away, and live in my truth, and open up my heart, but again, that's by releasing some of that story and shame, then it's like I've got room for love for myself and others.
So if anybody wanted to get a hold of you, Frankie, how could they get a hold of you?
Well, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and it's just under Frankie Nobert. Yeah. Okay. And the other part that I'm a part of the Uncommon Woman, which is Marlo Ellis is the founder and visionary. And through that, that one. And through that, one of the legs of the Uncommon Woman is the chapters, the international chapters. And it's through that, like when I talk about working with women, so I'm one of the directors of the chapters here in the West. So we have a smaller group of women that we meet once a month with, and we have themes of the month that we talk about. So there's been sisterhood, connection, responsibility, service, those kinds of things. Anyway, we talk about that, and we have an opportunity to share. Everyone has an opportunity to share, and because it's a safe space that we create, safe, sacred space that we create for the individuals to share. And so, yes, if that's something you want to be a part of and know more of, check as you posted there there. So in terms of online, that's what I do, is through the Uncommon Woman, and then other than that, it's just personal. Yeah.
I like that it's called the Uncommon Woman, because we put so much focus on the labels again, right?
Yes.
So uncommon, everyday women making a difference,
Oh, for sure. That's right. Yeah. I remember one friend I had, we both were kind of going through a stage. This is several years ago, and you know, we kept referring to ourselves as the black sheep. You know, like we were so different than everybody else. It's like, it's. But you know, so you're right. When we do that, we kind of live up to it, right? So it's
Yeah.
like we have to let go of it and just like we just are. You know, just be who
Yeah.
you are, and so and that's also kind of getting back to when I was talking about I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm I focus on just being. You know, I live my life, I do my stuff, and you know, whatever I post online is in terms of trying to share a message and inspiration, you know, related to that. In
Hmm.
terms of, you know, I go hiking every week, and you know, we're all, you know, the group that goes is, you know, we're all 70 plus, and we're climbing mountains, you know.
Wow.
So yeah,
Look at you
but
guys go. I still
yeah.
can't get over that you're 70, girl.
So but that's why I do it, is because so often so many think, well, I can't do this or whatever. And you know, yes, you might be in a stage of your life with your kids that you're not doing that, but there's no reason why you can't.
Yeah.
And that was the difference, you know, is when I was younger, I had a group of mentors or people that I was in contact with that inspired me to keep going, to keep doing stuff like that. Like I went to Maui with a group of seniors, and they were 70 and 74, and I was 40 at the time.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's like, okay, you know, that's what I can aspire to.
Yeah.
And but you don't want to wait till you get there. You got to be doing some of it now.
And
Otherwise, you're right. It is.
always have a bunch of friends that are different ages, because then you can
Yes.
experience different things, right?
That's right. That's right. As well as, you know, other surround yourself with others who are uplifting to keep you going, to keep you inspired, to keep growing, to keep
Yeah, for
healing.
sure.
You know, is just really important. And you know, like when I mentioned several times in, you know, earlier that, you know, I was so lonely. Well, a lot of it was because of, again, you know, the darkness and the shame and whatnot. And that was my go-to, was to isolate myself. And so I didn't have a lot of friends. And, you know, yes, I'm an introvert, and I do like my time by myself. You know, I did then and I still do. But I have found out I am so much healthier when I have a close connection of friends.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I surround myself, you know, with strong, uplifting, inspiring women who are doing the work, who are healing of some sort on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And you know, so I might not be doing the therapy right now, you know, as the gal I just walked with, but she is, and I'm learning so much from her. You
Exactly.
know, it works both ways, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And it really is a beautiful thing when we get that. Um, yeah, so it's like, don't isolate yourself. And you know, no, I'm still not good at asking for help, but I've got enough in my life that I've been a part of lately that if something's wrong, they know. I don't have to say anything. They know.
Yeah, they know.
You know. Yeah, yeah. It's really nice. The other thing I'm just thinking too is I know I've made the comment over this last year or so, is that I'm at a stage in my life like where most seniors are starting to lose friends and family, like their number of people in their lives are decreasing.
Yeah.
Mine's the opposite. Mine's increasing because
Oh,
I'm
wow.
still, yeah, but it's because I'm still out there growing. Like I'm a part
Mm-hmm.
of like the uncommon woman. I'm a part of others. So over the last 5 years, I've gone to probably 2 retreats a year, and you know, they're, you know, with women from all over the world, not just in Canada, and you know, and then with going south, I have a group of friends there. So my circle of friends has increased over the last 5 years, and
Wow.
I'm so blessed. And I think that's something that we all need to do,
Yes.
because yeah, you know, it's. I was going to say, you know, who knows? You know, I could be a widow within the next 5 years easily. I mean,
Yeah.
my husband is 4 or 5 years older than I, and you know, we all as individuals, never mind just as women, but men and women, we have to have a life of our own in terms of when our spouse or partner dies, we're not totally lost. I mean, sure, you're going to be affected, but I have known far too many that have been absolutely lost and devastated because they had no clue on how to do anything, and it happens both ways. So it's healthy for us to have a life of our own, an entity of our own, or identity of our own, so to say.
It doesn't mean that we don't love our mates,
right?
Or our spouses, or our husbands,
sure.
It just means that we are able to continue on if anything does happen.
That's right. Yeah. In fact, the stronger we are, the more we can love and give to them anyway, as well, versus being dependent and whatever on it. Yeah. So to me, that's interesting, because I've, something that I've witnessed a lot, and I think it's unfortunate. Yeah. And for men, definitely they lose people, and they need them just as much too. So my husband has probably expanded himself more this last year than he has in a long time too.
Oh, wow.
Kind of thing. So it's not like I'm telling him to do anything, but sometimes through example. Sometimes
we
they
set
follow.
the example, right? We're the role model.
Yeah.
If somebody else sees it, then they're like, oh, if they can do it, why can't I do it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So a lot of people like to follow the trails, Many are scared to be the leader, because the leader is like, okay, I got to take the first jump or nobody's jumping,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's like climbing that mountain, right? If I don't climb that mountain, nobody's coming behind me to follow me, So
I know. Yeah, it's true.
So
yeah.
So any final words, Frankie, for all the viewers out there? And we have a bunch of highs coming in from all over. We have some from Africa. We have some from Philippines, some from the U.S. So cool. I want to thank all the viewers out there for your shout outs. And my childhood girlfriend, who I haven't seen in over 30 years, is in the studio, and she is the one that had put that she's proud of you. So
thank you. Wow.
So you never know who's watching. So any final words for the viewers out there?
Keep a grateful heart and an open heart. I think that's one of the big things. And be open to keep growing and expanding. I think it makes a world of a difference. Never mind for, 10 years from now, whatever. It's like the present moment. Look after yourself, look after your heart, and have a grateful heart, and keep growing right now. And then the rest will take care of itself.
Thank you so much, Frankie. Yeah. It was a true honor to have you in the studio, and I still can't believe you're 70, girl.
Some days I can't either.
I truly want to thank you for coming on Tea Time and sharing your story and that. And anybody who would like to reach out, I have all of Frankie's information in the comments, and you can check her out on Facebook, Instagram, and the Uncommon Woman.
The Uncommon. It's the Uncommon Woman Ministry.
There you go. So you can check that out as well. And I will see everyone next week with a new guest from a new area, new country, with a message of hope to empower you all. And I'm going to close it up with what Miss Liz is all about.
Thank you, Liz. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Miss Liz, tea time, making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, Miss Liz, tea time, making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, So be sure to grab your tea, grab a seat, tune in to Miss Liz, tea time. Making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, Tea time.
Thank you for joining me, Miss Liz, for Tea Time. Making a difference, one cup of tea at a time.